sink into the chair. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy John from the Jersey Shore, and I'm with you today to discuss 2017's Get Out. Get Out was written and directed by Jordan Peele, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Allison Williams, and Lil Rel Howery. That name is a tongue twister. Never been a real big fan of Lils. I often wonder what happens when you're no longer Lil. Anyway, this movie starts off with a dude walking down the street at night. He's by himself, and he senses and sees a car pulling up behind him. So rather than have any problems or get himself in any kind of trouble, he chooses to just turn in the opposite direction and walk across the street. When he turns the other way and looks back, he sees that the driver's side door is open on the car, and the person driving the car is no longer in the car. So the next thing you see is this dude come up behind him, knocks him out or chokes him out. I don't know if they really don't show it too clearly whether he chokes him or whether he knocks him out with chloroform. But either way, things do not turn out well for this young gentleman. He winds up in the trunk of this car, and then you don't see him until much later in the film. The film centers around the character of Daniel Kaluuya, and I believe his name was Chris, and his girlfriend, portrayed by Allison Williams. These two, it's an interracial couple. He's black, she's white. They're going to pay a visit to her parents, and it just so happens that the weekend that they're going to see her parents, they're having some sort of a big party at her parents' house. Her father is a surgeon, and her mother is a psychiatrist. So they're very wealthy. They have a huge, beautiful house on a huge piece of land. Nobody lives around them, and they actually make it a point of saying that in the movie, that there's nobody else around. So as the movie progresses, Chris comes across, or he notices something weird about the maid, the housemaid, and he also notices something strange about the groundskeeper. Firstly, they're both black, and they both seem very calm, almost like they're on Ritalin. They're very odd acting people. Come to find out, you know what? I'm not even going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens. Eventually, the party begins, and Chris is out in the yard. He notices that there are people touching him. There are a lot of people paying extra special attention to him. They're feeling his arms. It's very odd. It's an odd situation. He comes across one gentleman who is actually an art dealer, but he's blind. So odd, it's very strange to come across a guy who actually deals in fine art, but he can't see. So he has an assistant that gives him details of different artworks. And he commences to telling Chris that he's a fan of his work, that Chris has a really good eye for art. So they strike up a friendly conversation, and so on and so forth. Things go from there. Eventually, at this party, Chris is standing in the yard, and he sees off in the distance a little bit another black guy standing off in the distance, but he's got his back facing him. So he goes over and he taps him, just to strike up conversation. And when the guy turns around, he's the guy that was taken at the beginning of the movie. Something happens. The gentleman seems to warn Chris. Chris feels like he knows this guy, but he doesn't know why. And that's the end of that altercation or communication that those two have together. I'm not going to give too much away about that either. I'm trying to choose my words wisely to not give too much of this away. I'm assuming by now that most people have seen this movie. It was wildly popular in 2017 when it came out. I know that Jordan Peele won an Academy Award for this movie. I'm recording. What's up? All right, so Chris's girlfriend's parents really dislike the fact that Chris smokes, so they offer her mother offers to hypnotize him, which he respectfully declines. The father says it's a free service that they provide, but they keep telling him how filthy of a habit it is. They seem very concerned that he smokes. So one night in the middle of the night, Chris decides, to go outside and sneak a cigarette while everybody's asleep. He goes outside, and the groundskeeper that he saw earlier in the film is running directly at him. He's not saying anything. He's not doing anything. There's no noises around. This dude is just running straight at him. So he sidesteps, lets him run by. Obviously, he thinks it's very strange. They don't communicate in any way whatsoever. He just runs. Chris goes back in the house thinking that he's still the only one awake. Walks in the house. He's trying to walk through the hallway to go upstairs to go back to sleep when suddenly a light comes on. It's his girlfriend's mother, and she says something to him about smoking again. She asks him to come in the room. He sits down in the chair. She has a little bit of conversation with him. She starts, stirring her tea, and they make it a point to show that she's stirring her tea, and she tells him to sink into the chair, and suddenly he has been hypnotized. So this hypnosis is a pretty major player in this movie, that is touched upon throughout the movie, throughout the rest of the movie, and it plays a pretty significant role. Chris's best friend is played by Lil Rel Howery, and Lil Rel's, I can't even call him that anymore, Rel Howery, throughout every time you see him, seems to be warning Chris that something's wrong, that white people are crazy, not to go to that house, not to go in that house, don't let these people hypnotize you. So as the movie is progressing, you come to realize that maybe Chris should have paid attention more to what his friend was telling him. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to give any more of the movie away. I've already given far too much away. But that's the basic groundwork, and that's the outline and the skeleton of this movie. I think that this movie was really, really well made by somebody who is a comedic genius. I'm not sure if you guys out there are familiar with who Jordan Peele is, but he was a member of Key and Peele. He obviously is Jordan Peele. He was Peele in Key and Peele. He and Keegan-Michael Key were Key and Peele. That show was fantastic. It was absolutely hilarious. They both came from the old Saturday night sketch comedy show Mad TV. I used to watch Mad TV every week. I thought it was funnier than Saturday Night Live was. I loved it. When it went away, it was very sad. But it was great to see these two resurface again with Key and Peele. Key and Peele eventually went away, and then Jordan Peele resurfaced making Get Out. Last year, he also made a movie called Us. I know that he hosted The Twilight Zone on one of the pay apps, streaming services. I believe it was CBS's streaming service. It's just, this came out of left field. It was not something you would expect coming from a comedic mind. But this movie was outstanding. I thought it was great. I liked everything about it. It was very well cast. Daniel Kaluuya, I really hope I'm pronouncing that guy's name correctly. He was incredible in this movie. He was very convincing. It was very striking when I watched the bonus features to hear him speaking in his native tongue or his native accent. He pulls off the English or American accent very well. So it was that much more shocking when I actually heard him speak. I am one of those guys that watches all the bonus features. I watched a thing, all the bonus features. They talk about the making of the movie and how the movie came about, and so on and so forth. I would strongly suggest that you watch Get Out. It was a wonderful movie, wonderful cast. Everything is great about it. It won, like I said at the beginning of the video, I believe Jordan Peele won an Academy Award for this movie, and it was very well deserved. It was a fantastic movie. So that's going to do it for the video. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to go on this journey with me. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching.